All right. Yeah, put my glasses on for this one. Okay, so now we are going to work on the pre-opening budget. And before I start this one, if you get stuck on any of these, there are case studies that were downloaded by you among your digital assets with the Restaurant Launchpad. So check out the case studies. If you get stuck on the budget, if you get stuck on the pro forma, go look at that case study and see a finished one that is completely filled in. That is especially helpful with ones with multiple tabs like the pre-opening budget and the year one operating budget. You can see the way that everything looks when it's filled out, and you'll also be able to see exactly what I'm talking about when I say go to the pre-opening budget and find this number, because that's the one you're going to put into column B or whatever it is on the pro forma. But right now we're going to work on the pre-opening budget. But don't forget to look at those case studies. Those will be a big help to you if you get stuck. If you get stuck and cannot get unstuck with the case studies, you may email the support team at support@the-industrystandard.com. All right, so here are our digital asset folders. So again, we are going to be working on the pre-opening budget worksheet this time. So here is Bert's Fish Camp pre-opening budget. This is a PDF. Again, open this up. You might want to look at this beforehand. In fact, you might want to look at all of the case studies beforehand. So there's four right here from Bert's Fish Camp: sample menu, abstract, pro forma, and pre-opening budget. And so here's a year one operating budget example. Here's a critical path example, and here's a business plan example. So you have lots and lots of examples for you to look at in case you want to know what a finished product looks like. Okay, so now I'm going to double click to open the pre-opening budget worksheet. So now that I've got this open, I need to enable editing. I want to save this version so that I preserve the original. I like to save this to my downloads. Burger Hero will be the name of our restaurant. All right. So we're on the summary page. So just like in the other documents, if it's in yellow, it's for you to fill out. If it is not in yellow, don't mess with that cell, okay? Don't mess with column D on any page. Don't mess with column E on any page. Those have formulas in them. You don't want to mess with them. Okay, so this is a very simple document. So on the summary page, these are all the major categories over here in column A. Design fees, design elements, or FF&E. FF&E stands for fixtures, furnishing, and equipment. Construction, kitchen equipment, legal fees, PR, advertising. You can read. I don't need to read these all out to you. So one thing I do want to talk about, cash float here at the bottom. I put a comment in on this one. The cash float is the amount of money that you want to have in cash in your bank for expenses you incur after opening day. So this is your cash on day one. That's how I define cash float. And that needs to be part of your figuring for your opening budget. For your pre-opening budget, the amount of money you need to raise. You need to figure on a certain cash flow. That can be a month of expenses, 3 months, 6 months of expenses. It really just depends on your comfort level. If you can raise enough money to have 6 months of expenses, 6 months of expenses in cash in hand, cash on hand in the bank, amazing. You can look like a hero and return some of that to your investors right away. Um, okay, so so you're not going to touch anything on this page. Column B, this is your actual spend. I'll show you where these numbers are going to come from. Column C is your budgeted spend. Column D is the variance. You want column D to stay positive. Once any of these single rows in column D goes into the negative, that means you have overspent for that particular line item. If row number 21, so if cell D21 goes negative, that means you have overspent and you're over budget. Okay, so design fees. What are some things that we want for design? We need lighting. Okay. Oh, so we're going to put the vendor in. So USA Lights. Could have done a little better job on spelling that. They're going to do pendants for us. So let's say they're going to do 6 pendants. The pendants are $400 each. So that's going to be 2,400. So that is our budgeted total. Also, we got the quote from them. It was 2,400. The invoice came in and it was 2,400. Okay. So we're going to need tile in the bathrooms. So USA Tile quoted us. Okay. So bathroom tile, they quoted us $4,800. But you forgot to figure in labor for the tile, which is also going to run an extra 2,000. So this item came in at 6,800 once all the invoices were done. So you went over budget by $2,000 on that. So at the bottom, you're going to get your totals. This is your total budgeted spend. Column D is always going to be your budgeted spend for design fees. Column C is what you actually spent. So far, we're $2,000 over budget on tiles and for design fees total. So that's the way you're going to do. That's what you're going to do. So FF and E. Okay, so we need to buy some chairs. Great. So, whoops, USA chairs. So we need 100 chairs, and the chairs are going to cost $300 each. So what's that? $30,000 worth of chairs. Very expensive. Chairs are really expensive. But your designer is able to get a designer discount, a nice guy discount. So these came in at only $24,000. He got a 20% discount. Amazing. So your variance is $6,000 to the good. You save 6,000 bucks to budget on chairs. So let's see what that did to the summary page. So our actual spend so far is 33,200 against a budget of 37,200. So that's a $4,000 savings. So $4,000 right there. That's the delta between our budgeted spend and our actual spend. So far we have saved $4,000 to budget. So the way that you're going to use this document is you are going to go in and you're going to put in all the quotes. So let's say your contractor said construction is going to cost $180,000. So these invoices are not going to arrive anywhere near the same time as the quotes or when you put the budget in, as you put the budgeted amounts in. So this is going to go in. So then as you start to get invoices, 4 weeks later, so this is invoice one. Let's say this invoice was $4,200. You're not going to put anything over here in column D. You have the budgeted total for all of construction right here. So then as these invoices continue to come in, invoice two, they start to get it more expensive, was 14,200. Okay. And so don't worry about these individual deltas right here. You don't need to have, so you've got the contractor's quote right here, and then he is invoicing you against that quote. All right. So you can see the total, you're still 161,600 to the good down here at the bottom. And so as those invoices come in, you're going to put them in column C, and then they're going to count down, they're going to subtract from the budgeted total that you put in the beginning. So kitchen equipment, you're going to get your quotes from your kitchen supplier. And this is going to be, say it's stoves. Let's say the quote you got was for $10,000 worth of stoves. Okay. So you need to go through each of these tabs: PR and advertising, legal, accounting, fees and permits from the city, liquor license from the state, that sort of thing. Big four: china, silver, glassware, and linen. Put in your budgeted amounts for each of those. Graphic and web design, office supplies, bar equipment, rent and deposit. So your landlord is probably going to ask you for 1 or 2 months deposit when you sign the lease and when he executes the lease. So when that goes live, you're probably going to have to put down 1 or 2 months deposit. So you may well get rent-free. You may well get to occupy the building rent-free during construction. There's probably an end time on that. Maybe it's 120 days, maybe it's 180 days. But so you're going to put rent deposit. Let's say your rent is $6,000 a month and you have to put down 2 months worth. So there you go. You knew that that was coming. So you have 12,000 in that item. Um, so there you go with that. Let's see what else. Opening inventory. So this is going to be mostly your perishables. Anything that you have to buy that is eventually going to be an operational cost, but you have to spend pre-opening money on it. You have to spend money before you've started taking money in. That goes into this opening inventory line. Your accountant will love you for doing this and keeping track of it because it will make things a lot easier later on, believe me. So keep track of the food, beverage, paper goods, any consumables that you buy, track them on this sheet. Salaries and wages. So this is mostly going to be salaried employees. There will be a few, well, you'll bring all of your hourly employees on before opening day as well, just for a much shorter time frame. The cooks, maybe you just train them for a week. The servers, maybe you train them for 3 or 4 days. Probably have a couple of days of soft opening, friends and family type dinners. But the GM may need to start 3 or 4 months ahead of time to do the hiring and to do maybe he's helping with systems and paperwork. The chef may need to start months ahead of time to develop the menu, develop the recipes, and maybe he's part of the design of the kitchen. So factor in your salaries and wages here. All right, so now let's go back to summary tab. Okay. And so this will keep track of your pre-opening budget all the way through. Again, any questions about this one? Check out the case study, the pre-opening budget PDF that I put in the digital assets that you downloaded.